Hello, and once again, thank you for joining me as I talk some more about the civilians during the Civil War. And where we left off, we were talking about some of those civilians in Gettysburg and the fact that the victorious Federal Army did not stay behind for very long like they had in some of the other battles. And so most of the cleanup of the bodies, of the things left behind, that was left for the civilians to do. Human bodies littered the streets and the fields. It was July in southern Pennsylvania. There had been 3 hot days of fighting, followed by a day of rain, and then followed by more days of heat. Reports described this rancid scent that was so bad that women started taking perfumed handkerchiefs with them wherever they went, just so that they could mask that stench. Not long after the battle, the U.S. Sanitary Commission arrived in the town and set up Camp Letterman. There was quite a bit of work to do for the civilians, and burying bodies became one of those major chores that had to be done. Elizabeth Thorne was the wife of the cemetery caretaker Peter. He was away fighting in the war, and 6 months pregnant at the time of the battle, she and her father buried 105 war casualties in Evergreen Cemetery. She didn't receive any extra pay for the work that she did or the damages that had been done to their home during the battle. Um, but she just did it because it had to be done. While only one civilian was killed during the Battle of Gettysburg, there are many others who died later on as a result of the battle. Among the things to clean up after a battle are discarded weapons, and local businesses would pay people, mostly children, to collect weapons and any ammunition they could as scrap metal. Many townspeople also came through the town and began going through the battlefield looking for souvenirs. Many people realized right away what a monumental battle Gettysburg was going to be in regards to turning the war, and so many people came for that reason, and many people also came to find news of loved ones or to even find loved ones who may have been killed or wounded. Now, unexploded shells and loaded rifles could still be found littering the land. And one of the saddest stories, just days after the battle, 3-year-old Edward McPherson was shot and killed when his older brother found a loaded gun, started playing with it, and accidentally fired it. So you have not just the actual battle, you don't just have the actual armies coming through and causing issues and up doing different things for that are going to harm the citizens. Even the aftermath can do a lot to alter the lives of these individuals. A third city I've done much research on is Vicksburg, Mississippi, and this city was a key component to the Union victory, but we don't often study it because it's in that Western theater, and a lot of times we focus on the Eastern theater. Vicksburg's located high above the Mississippi River, and control of the city gave the Army control over the entire river. So if the Union Army were to hold it, it would cut the Confederacy in two. So the Union wanted it for that reason, whereas the Confederates wanted it because they didn't want that to happen. The Union, led by Ulysses S. Grant, who was the general in charge of the Army of the West, he tried many times to take control of the city. And finally, it kind of reached a head in May of 1863. The Union Army surrounded the city and lay siege. This fighting lasted for 47 days. It was so bad for the civilians that many dug or rented caves for protection from the constant bombardment. And one civilian even gave birth to her baby boy in a community cave. This is all a main part of my third book, but suffice to say the civilians of Gettysburg suffered greatly. And the end of the siege on July 4, 1863, absolutely devastated the Confederacy. They were never able to overcome the loss of the Mississippi, and to go along with the defeat at Gettysburg, it was kind of a double blow. So that's all that we have time for today. Next time, I'll be talking about Petersburg, Virginia, which kind of helps bring the whole war to the close. So hope to see you back then, and have a nice time until I see you again.